Welcome to Trust Your Inner Sense with Joanne Starkman podcast. I'm Joanne Starkman, and I look forward to going on this collaborative journey with you to ignite inspiration, inspire self-discovery, and instill new meaning in life. I'm excited to host a wonderful array of guests, including innovators, creatives, expert coaches, teachers, and much, much more who come together to share their stories. Each episode reveals how they've embraced their inner sense to pursue their passions and shine their unique lights in the world. We'll have thought-provoking discussions and chat about tools that will provide fresh perspectives to help you create a joyful and meaningful life. As founder and chief visionary officer of award-winning hair care brand Inner Sense Organic Beauty, I am also an avid meditator, platform artist, author, and mother of a special needs young adult. Over 20 years ago, I intentionally brought mindfulness to morning routines by authoring each affirmation on Inner Sense Organic Beauty's products, which we call Innerflections. You can check them out on the back of the bottle. It's my goal to have this podcast to be your warm and compassionate companion, whether you're on a journey for deeper meaning, seeking greater joy, or in need of love and healing. Let's continue our journey of self-discovery, self-care, and self-love. I'm so glad you're here. Let's dive into this week's Trust Your Inner Sense episode now. Well, hello, friends. I'm super excited to have you here today. I'm so excited about our guest. I want to welcome LaQuita Cleare today. As a sought-after expert in the art of storytelling, LaQuita turns her vast experience from the captivating world of Hollywood entertainment into fail-proof method for unlocking engagement at any level. She has helped thousands of people elevate how they connect, build support, and strengthen trust with their customers, their employees, and with each other. Using the engagement code, LaQuita translate her storytelling craft she mastered supporting Oscar-winning stars on set as a Hollywood actor, writer, and producer into actionable lessons for corporate audiences so they can experience real business results. Welcome, LaQuita. I'm super excited to have you today. I've worked with you personally and in my professional career and have known you for quite a few years. I cannot wait for my listeners to learn more about you. So would you mind taking a minute just to kind of introduce yourself?
Yes, I'm excited to be here. I love talking about all things storytelling, and with you, it is an absolute pleasure. So yes, my name, LaQuita Cleare. I am somewhat of a storytelling magician. That's kind of what I have been coined from Chicago, originally in Los Angeles. And I'm in, I guess, the land of storytelling, I would say. So I am someone who loves watching stories, telling stories, listening to other people tell stories, reading stories, and I like matcha and sushi as well. So that's like me in a nutshell.
Oh, I love that. I didn't know those two things about you. Matcha
Yes.
sometimes can be a little grassy or earthy for me, depending upon, I mean, if you're a connoisseur, you probably have more to say about that. My sister's a matcha
Yes.
drinker as well. So
I have the best. I'll have to make you a matcha. It will be smooth. It will have a nice umami flavor. You will be in love.
that sounds delicious.
Yes.
Wow. Okay. Expert over here. Did so many things I did not know about you. That's so cool. Well, how did your background in Hollywood storytelling inspire the creation of the engagement code?
I think what is interesting for me about everything I learned in Hollywood is how to make people feel something. And working in the business and corporate world, most of your listeners will probably understand this. Sometimes it's all information driven. And I realized being in Hollywood that the conversations that people would have would be, how can you make people feel? Even in a movie, when you bring in the music, it's about how can we create emotion? How can we really highlight certain feelings in this movie with the music? And I started realizing that corporate could use that because there's too many people, too many boring meetings, don't you think? Too many boring meetings and talks of KPIs only.
Absolutely. And it's like, okay, I'm hearing this on like a next level. I'm so glad that we're doing this because it's like it makes so much sense. Absolutely. I love that. Yeah, it's like how you feel. Those feelings are so powerful. Well, what's one simple tip that listeners can use today to improve their connection, with their through their communication? Like especially when speaking to an audience or a team or maybe even just an individual.
I think there's a couple of things, but one of the biggest things that seems simple, but most people don't do it is listen. How can you connect if
Mm.
you are not listening? I feel like we're always showing up somewhere to speak. What is my agenda? What do I want to tell people? What do I want to get across
Mm.
so that I'm not even listening to A, how people are even feeling in the beginning of a simple meeting? Most simple meetings, what happens? We go into it and we're like, what do I need to get across? I don't even have time for small talk. I don't have time for icebreakers. So even taking that moment to listen and to connect, and that helps you understand what you should be saying as well.
Oh, that's such great advice for sure. How can someone strengthen their content part of their message? Especially if they struggle to make their ideas seem relevant.
I think content has to be broken down a little bit into the way we break it down with the engagement code is yes, you have the connection part, but the content piece is really making sure that it's clear, concise, and compelling. And I say all three of those things because some people are very, very clear, but they're not compelling or they're compelling, but they're just on and on and on and on. We've all had those people. So if you think about first what your message is and what you want to say, and maybe even put it into some sort of outline so you can make sure that it is concise. And then the last part of it is how do you want to deliver your content? I think that's very, very important. Think of it as, I don't know, you're giving someone a present. You can just give it to them or you can wrap it up in a nice package and then people are excited to open it up and rip open the wrapping paper. So really thinking about how you want to deliver the message, what you want to say, making sure it's clear, concise, and then wrapping it up in some sort of engaging way.
Can you give an example of that? It's so that it makes so much sense. And I'm just thinking about different people in my, career path that I'm like, and even myself at times, I'm like, I feel like, oh, I go on and on and on and like maybe not get clear, concise. I mean, can you give like an example maybe from somebody that you've worked with? I mean, obviously not naming any names or I don't know, something that maybe you found for yourself or a message that you wanted to put out that you needed to kind of tweak a little bit?
Definitely. There's so many examples, but I'll give you an example just for myself because I have also I'm the teacher who has also had to learn myself as well and improve. But if I think about let's think about public speaking, for example.
Mhm.
We can tell people you should be a better public speaker and I can tell you all of the different things you need to learn or I can tell you a story about public speaking and the why behind it. I will give you a very, very quick example in terms of virtual communication. We had a client during the height of the pandemic who was now forced to lead virtually, which was very, very
Mm.
uncomfortable. How do you connect in front of the camera? How do you present in front of the camera? So he came to a virtual communication class just so that he could learn these skills. And he actually started doing a virtual roadshow. If some of you don't know what that is, it's you're taking your company public and now you have to do constant meetings. And because of these skills, he was able to present 30, 40 times a day and he took his company public.
Wow.
So it's not, hi, do you want to take a public speaking class in front of the camera? It's listen to what someone did with these skills and what they were able to accomplish, which is a lot more impactful than just telling someone about your services.
Yeah, amazing. That's incredible. What about like somebody I'm just thinking of the hairstylist for, maybe some of our listeners are hairstylists. Like, what's a practical way to enhance the delivery of a message, like through voice, body language, pacing, so that people stay engaged, like start to finish?
I love hairstylists because my hairstylist happens to be one of my best friends. And I will say it's all because of the way that he connects and delivers. A couple things that I will say. One is, what about when you're meeting someone for the first time? That
Mm.
is that first impression that you're setting up. Has it been a long day? Are you excited to meet them? What does your body language say? Is your body language open and warm and inviting? Or is your body language, I've kind of had a long day. Yes, I'm happy you're here, but I'm not quite thrilled. So there are simple things that you can think about in the delivery, vocal delivery, I would say. How is your voice? Are you really showing the passion that you have for meeting new people, for doing hair? That's one of those things that can help attract people. Every single time I would go to see my hairdresser, he would light up. He would hug me, he would grab me, he would light up. And for me, it was like home sitting in that chair.
Makes you feel so good, right?
It's amazing. It makes you feel good. It makes you feel that someone actually cares about you. I think particularly with hairdressers, because that's what you do all day is you tell stories. You tell stories, they tell stories.
Absolutely. It makes me think of that's kind of one of the things that I've learned about Morgan, my daughter. I don't know if you've had the opportunity to meet her, but she just has such a warm, inviting personality. And once she meets a person once, she'll always remember something about their previous meeting and like
Right.
refer back to it or whatever. And she just lights up a room in that way. And I feel like I've watched her make people feel so special in that way. So that's a good, I mean, it's like sometimes that first contact, even if you've seen somebody a million times. I mean, I even think about that, like when Greg comes home or like if somebody's coming into my house to like it's very impactful to act. I don't want to say act, but to really greet a person in that regard.
It is. And sometimes we all are human, of course. We all have long days, we all have hard
Absolutely.
days. But it
Absolutely.
really helps also to energize you. Think about it.
Absolutely.
You've had a long day but you're excited to see this person. And then the energy you also get back from them is energizing. So it's really just a mutually beneficial thing
Oh,
that helps both people. And I haven't personally met Morgan yet, but I would like to
okay.
because
Oh yeah. No,
I've
you
heard a
guys
lot
are
about her.
you guys are both little curly girls and yeah. You have very similar hair, both of you. So
Oh,
I
that's
think
awesome. Okay, we need to meet each other.
yeah, for sure. Yeah, how can listeners apply the engagement code to everyday conversations, not just speeches and presentations? I mean, maybe we talked a little bit about that, but what else would you say just as far as applying those methods?
I think that one of the big things is being present. I think it's more for me for everyday conversations, even. And I think
Mm,
if we go back to being present, and that's the reason why connection came before content, it's not just by accident that we said connection plus content, but plus delivery. If you are really present, then you're able to connect. And I feel like that's what's missing from a lot of our everyday conversations because we're busy, we don't have time. So if you pause for a moment in, I don't know, whatever it is, it can be with your partner, your spouse, it can be with someone in your chair. If you pause for a minute and think about even that 30 seconds of connection. Is it a hug? Is it a smile? Is it a how was your weekend? What is that point of connection before whatever you're going to deliver? It can even be when you're going to deliver news that, I don't know, you need to take an employee in the office and deliver news. Are you just hitting them with the news or are you taking a moment to connect on a human level? So I think if we're present and then we're taking those even 30 seconds, it is a game changer and definitely life changing.
mhm. I love that. Do you have any tips for people that like maybe often find themselves not being present? Sometimes I even wonder if people recognize that they're not present.
No, I don't think we do, and I'm adding we to this because
Oh,
there have been a lot of times in my life where I've had to learn these things, everything that I'm saying, even when I was teaching other people this, because I feel like perfection for me got in the way, me always
mm,
striving for things to be perfect. So
mhm.
here I am speaking, but I'm second guessing myself in my head. Did I say that right? Oh, I could have said that better. Oh, I meant to say it like that. In the car, I did it like this. I think part of it for me is how do you change your mindset? Sometimes that's silencing that inner critic so
Mhm.
that you can be present in the moment. So I think if you can silence, if you can change that mindset, then you can be a little bit more present. And the other thing I think is not being afraid of being imperfect. I will say that.
Ugh, that's such a
Everything's not
hard
perfect.
that's hard for me. That it's like I'm
we've
like,
all been there, but I think that's hard though. How can you, if we're always striving for perfection, then you're not also in the moment of enjoying the journey.
mm-hmm. No, I know. I have to remind myself that all the
Mm.
time. LaQuita, thank you.
Me too.
Oh, man. Wow. Thank you for that. That's pretty cool. Yeah. So, in your pursuit of communication excellent workshop, you teach story delivery plus psychology. What's one framing technique listeners can use now to align teams behind a shared vision?
I think the shared vision has to be based on a why. I think
Mm,
if you're trying to lead people somewhere and there's a vision, or even if there's the values you want to speak about, why? Why are these company values there? Why are you trying to lead us somewhere? Because when we get behind the why, I think it's a lot easier to get people aligned and wanting to move with you. And there are a lot of types of stories that you can tell. Is your why based on some sort of customer story or customer journey? Is there a really powerful customer story that illustrates everything that you are as a company? That's pretty cool. If you are a founder, is the why or the next part of where you're going in your vision, is that based on something that you just feel deeply about and that's why you started the company? That might be another short story that you tell as well. So it is all about the why. I feel like that's especially with a lot of the younger generations. They want to know why. Why?
yes. Yes. Good point. Wow. This is like having a coaching call all at the same time. Yeah.
I love these calls. They're so fun.
I
They're so
appreciate
fun to
it.
share. To share with people is so exciting to me.
Oh, yeah, that's amazing. Well, okay, so more around that. Then in Pitch Perfect, you help people craft clear, concise pitches. What's a quick exercise to sharpen a pitch so that it's compelling and efficient? Maybe you've already answered that, but
I think there's a few things. One is, yes, we spoke about the why, but I
mhm.
have something even better for you to think about. And it's thinking about logic, credibility, and emotion in your pitches. Making sure that you hit those three things. I say that because what happens in most pitches is people do what? They speak about their credibility. I went to Harvard.
Mm.
500 people said I was awesome. All of these things that are just credibility based. But what about the emotion? What about the emotion behind what you're doing? Are you solving a problem? One of the things for me that stands out for you is when you speak about Morgan. That is a
Mm.
why. That is something that's emotion. It's
Mhm.
not only product or features based. So if you can make sure you have the credibility, but then you layer on top of that that emotion in the pitch, why are you helping someone? Also, then you put in the logic. So there may be numbers that go along with your pitch. So if you have this powerful story about the why, then you have the credibility of maybe where you've been listed or all the accolades you've gotten, and then you have logic of how many people you've helped or numbers or stats, then that is a winning pitch. That's a winning pitch.
So is that because you're when you're pitching to an audience or maybe even a group of people, different people resonate with those three different components? Because it just is, I'm just thinking for myself, like if I'm hearing a pitch, to me, like the credibility is not as important, like
Mhm.
as the emotion. You know what I mean? Like I'm like, you're just standing there. That's enough for
Yeah.
me. You know what I mean? Like I'm just curious, like that what goes in, why is that the winning formulation? Not that I'm questioning it, because I think it's amazing. And I do think, like, just I'm thinking from my lens, credibility matters. But is it
Mhm.
because different people are listening? So you're trying to hit on all those things? Or is there any little backstory behind why that makes a winning pitch?
There is. And I do think in any audience, of course, we all are different. And
Yeah.
what we lead with is different, and what resonates with us may be a little bit different. So if you have someone who you know is a stickler for logic, don't go into a 10-minute story before giving them some
Right.
logic that
Right.
they're going to first connect with and then give them the story. But this actually goes way, way back if we think about Aristotle and this theory of persuasion. And this is based on that. It's based on, in order to persuade people, we need these three things. Initially it's ethos, pathos, and logos. So the ethos is the credibility, the logos is the logic, and then the pathos is the emotion. But as I was thinking about this and as I studied it, I'm like, wow, Aristotle was, I don't know, just umpteen years ago. Like it seems like not even, and people are like, who? But then as I was thinking about it, it made a lot of sense to me because we as human beings make decisions based on emotion. That's what we make decisions based off of. But we all think it's not like that, but it is. And then we justify it with logic. So if you think about, we're emotional beings. Even people who try to act so tough, it's because you haven't pushed their emotional button. But we all have that button that connects to us. So if we think of it like that as human beings, that's why we've been telling stories since the beginning of time. Stories are not new. We're just not thinking of them in a strategic way as well in business settings.
Yeah, that's amazing. Yeah,
I love it. I've seen it work really well with pitches.
Yeah. Could you share one? Could you share a success story or?
I'll share a few. So actually one that stands out to me, I won't say the company, but I will say there was a client that came to us and wanted to pitch a solution that is in, say, the medical space. And in the medical space, especially when you have technology, everybody just wants to drown you in all of this technology and what it does and all of these amazing things. But instead, what they started doing was adding that little bit of emotion in by utilizing a story. And part of it was speaking about the problem. So if you speak about, for example, heart disease, and you speak about how you have this new invention, but if you first set the stage with either someone you know who has heart disease, maybe the person even passed, in this case, someone actually did pass away, then people are like, wow, now you insert the solution, you've gotten to that emotion. Or if you set up the problem, how many people are suffering, then you talk about the solution. That's the way that you get in that emotion. And I saw it successfully work with a client and they were able to pitch and start raising money.
Wow, amazing. That's super cool to think about that. Well, how can leaders use storytelling, not just data, to inspire and build team alignment in a fast moving workplace?
I think leaders need to realize that their personal stories even more are important. And I say that because sometimes I'll work with a leader and they have company stories. That's great. They have company stories, they have customer stories. But when it comes to telling their own story, they're feeling nervous. They don't know how much they should share. They don't necessarily want to be transparent. But that's such a great way for us to connect to you. And also because most leaders, it's been so long since you've been in the seats of someone on your team. So having that story, even with some of your early experiences, and they don't have to be all perfect. Actually, they shouldn't be all perfect stories where you just always had everything figured out. We also want to go on a journey with you. So I really urge leaders to utilize personal stories more to make a connection with their teams.
That's such sound advice for sure. I mean, I can even reflect back in the early days. It's like starting a business, you want it back to the perfection piece. Like you want it to be all perfect, like shiny and perfect. And that's like not what life is. And I don't think people really connect to it as much. And I feel like the more vulnerability and really getting grounded in who we truly are and the authenticity, it's really benefited the company long term. Yeah,
it does. And I think it also helps us to connect with you quickly. So that's another thing too. If as a leader, you are trying, say you're bringing new team members on and you want them to connect with you, think about even when your new team is meeting you for the first time,
Mhm.
and it's like, hey, I'm the CEO, or hey, I'm the founder. Okay, we can see that from the website. But what else? And I think of big public figures as well. And some of the ones that we tend to connect with the most are those who sometimes are a little bit vulnerable and they share stories. So it's everybody listening, thinking about the people you love. Why is it that you love them? Why is it that you trust them? There's
Mm.
probably stories that they've told, and there's a reason you feel connected to them.
Mhm. That's beautiful. Well, what's one habit or practice you recommend to anyone who wants to be more engaging in daily communication?
Practice and be intentional about it. Even if it's uh, say you are deciding what are your weaknesses and you are assessing yourself, finding your weaknesses. Say it's delivery. How can you be intentional about improving that? Maybe it's something as simple as saying, when I kick off the meeting today, I'm going to try to improve my body language on the video. Being intentional about practicing for me is huge, and also not being afraid to record yourself and watch
Uh,
it back. I
oh.
know that's ultimate cringe. It was for me for a long time. I had times where I sat in an editing room in movies that I was in and I couldn't watch myself. And I'm like, I shouldn't be like this. There's people in this room and it's kind of embarrassing that I'm cringing or looking away, but it's really helpful, and I think it's helpful for your growth because we don't always know what we're doing and what we're not doing. So it's helpful for your growth with one caveat. Use it for growth and not to just pick yourself apart. So you need to be able to be on the outside watching yourself without being a critic that's unhelpful. We all know there are critics who are unhelpful. Don't be that for yourself.
Oh my gosh, this is so good for me because I'm going
Oh
to
my
let you in on
goodness.
a secret. I'm not even really that apt to re-listen to my podcast right now because I'm just having to get over that. It's funny,
It's hard.
the first time that I listened to like a bulk amount of them was in a long road trip and Greg was like, "I want to listen to the podcast." And I'm like, "Really?" And somehow it was like easier for me to listen like with him holding my hand, which sounds ridiculous, right? But I got to get
You
that's
that's
so
that's
good.
hard. It's good, but it's so hard. But think of it like this, because sometimes I will do things and I'm like, okay, I don't want to hear. I want everybody else to hear for sure,
Mhm.
but I'm picking myself apart. So I need to remind myself as well. But if you just change the mindset and think about not
Mhm.
how you sound or look, but the message, and even
Mm.
if you help one person,
Oh,
that's a game.
yes.
That's such a win. Even if you
Yes.
think you look awful,
Yes.
and it's like before this, I'm blotting the oil off my face.
Right. No, I'm like
But that's
fixing
okay.
all the hairs
Yeah,
and
yeah.
yeah, all this stuff. And then yeah. Oh, wow. Okay. This is so good. Okay, well, looking ahead then, how do you see storytelling and the engagement code shaping the future of leadership communication?
I see it shaping it. That's one of my biggest visions, I think, is to find more ways for this to shape leadership communication, because then the hope is that it kind of trickles down to everyone. And I think that there's so many different ways that we're trying to get it out there, even just coming here to talk about it, coming
Mhm.
here to talk about it, putting out content. I think it has to change things. We have to move, just as a society, we have to move from this information delivery to connection and engagement. I think we are, especially now with AI, with our feeds being flooded with information. There's no shortage of information. Nobody needs you to tell them things. People need you to connect. People need your point of view. People need you to show up and be you when you tell them things. So I think
Mm.
now more than ever, we are on a mission to do that. We started our platform to do that so that people can continue practicing and doing it, but you have to do it. You have to also realize as a leader that you're not perfect, and I think that's hard to realize as well. Is, you know what, I need help. Everybody thinks that because they can form words that they're communicating. That doesn't mean that though.
Mhm. Oh my goodness. We need you. We need you here.
Like everywhere, we need to just help people.
We
just
do.
help.
Yes. No, I love that. I love that. It's always such a pleasure speaking with you, and you inspire me so much. And every single time we get together, I feel so full and so inspired. Before we close our chat today, I have a couple quick soulful questions, like kind of a little rapid fire. And if you could wouldn't mind just tapping into your inner sense and share what first comes to mind. Okay. So what's one daily ritual that helps you feel grounded?
Drinking a matcha in silence. In silence. That's the important part.
I love that. Okay, perfect. If you could whisper one truth into everyone's heart, what would it be?
Everyone does not need to like you. Everyone doesn't need to like you. That, I think, that's just a game changer.
Oh my gosh. I have a story around that, but that's for another day. That is such a good reminder. You know, my mom told me once when I was a little girl, and I don't think it stuck with me. And I think that is a valuable, kind of brings me to tears a little bit thinking about that. That's so good. Wow. Okay.
Me too. We can't go to tears because yes, it's very, I've learned the hard way, trying to do it differently.
Oh, perfect. Beautiful. Thank you for that. So when was the last time you truly felt seen, and what made that moment meaningful?
For me, I am a tango dancer, an Argentine tango dancer. And I was at a festival, a dance festival, and I was dancing. And I felt truly seen in that moment because it wasn't about what I looked like. It was truly, it's the true definition of being in the moment, because anything could be happening. But in those few moments of that song, I was dancing with a partner, and we were dancing, and nothing else. I was seen, it was connection, and nothing else outside of that for those 4 or 5 minutes of the song mattered.
Oh, that's beautiful. I just had this beautiful vision of like maybe what possibly you were wearing and whatever. So that's super cool. Wow. Thank you for sharing that. So what's one truth you return to when everything else feels uncertain?
For me, I guess it would be that the sun will rise in the morning. It's there's a quote. I don't remember the exact quote, but it's like the dawn is going to break, but first it needs to get dark. And for me, no matter what's happening, there's always going to be another day. And as long as I live to see another day and I'm breathing, there is absolutely nothing that I can't get through. That's for me, what keeps me always going.
That's so beautiful. Well, thanks again so much for sharing your time with us, LaQuita. I really appreciate it. Thank you
for having me. I love talking to you. I love what you've done. And this conversation makes me also emotional just to connect. So thank you so much for having me on.
Oh, I appreciate you so much. And for my listeners, if you want to learn more about LaQuita or connect with her personally, be sure to check out the show notes. And until next time, always trust your inner sense. Thank you so much for joining me for today's episode, dear friends. I would be thrilled to hear which part resonated with you the most. Your reflections on today's topic and how it sparked action in your life mean a lot to me. Feel free to share your thoughts at podcasts@innersensebeauty.com or leave a review. I look forward to you coming back next week to explore another exciting topic together. If you'd like to dive deeper, be sure to check out the show notes for some valuable links. Until we meet again, take good care of yourself. Know that you are surrounded by love and always trust your inner sense. Wishing you all the best, friends.